Listening to your interview last week, there was a lot of hurt, clearly, after the game. How deep is that hurt, even now?
It's massively, yeah. I was embarrassed by the performance, and I'm now. And we've talked, we've worked, but until we get out on the pitch on Saturday and do something about it in a positive way, then that hurt will stay inside me, and hopefully that hurt that the players are feeling, that they're showing that I know they do care, that will count to something to put in a much better performance on Saturday.
We hear sometimes about, if you win well away from home, the bus journey home is a bit like a good party. I imagine you could have heard a pin drop last Saturday.
It wasn't the best, and you wouldn't have expected it to be. It was a sombre, quiet bus, and so it should have been. There was a lot of reflection and thinking on our part as a staff, and hopefully the players were doing the same. There was no joviality, no laughing from the back, which you wouldn't expect. But hopefully, like I said before, I know they care. I know they're hurting. We can talk all we like. It's about going out and doing it on Saturday. Unfortunately, we didn't have a game Tuesday to go and put it right. But what that's meant is we can have a look at a few things. We've analysed a few things that we didn't like, that we haven't liked, that we haven't been seeing. But only at 3 o'clock on Saturday will we have a real chance to put that right. And even then it doesn't make it any easy. It doesn't make it just go away. But if we put in a good performance and get a positive result, then it'll go some way towards that.
Does it feel as if you and the players want to get some respect back?
I should hope so. Yeah, we have to. Nobody loses 8-1, and we did that, and it was I've told the players what I think of it. I don't think it's something that I want to sort of broadcast, but it was unacceptable, and from everybody's part, and it can't happen again, and it won't happen again. I'm sure of that, but it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
In the cold light of day, what was the most, I would say, worrying factor for you? Was it the organisation of the side? Was it the sluggishness?
What we set out to do, we did nothing like what we set out to do. When we play that system, and we have to get our fullbacks out to people, and we talked about it before the game. We knew what they'd play. We knew how they would play it. But we didn't deal with things from their back four, from their midfield, and we certainly didn't deal with their forwards. All goals. I mean, on their part, they'd probably think, well, we've scored some good goals, but there was some lazy, sloppy, poor defending, not just from defenders. And we almost gave up at times, and that's the unacceptable part. Sometimes all you want is effort and commitment, and I felt I was let down in that department, and the players know that, and they've got to go out and get that back.
So, irrespective of the result on Saturday, is it all about the performance?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course it is. Of course we want to win. Of course we're going out to win. But there's another 11 players and a staff trying to stop you doing that. But after Saturday, it's about performance. It's about showing that they care, showing that they got pride in wearing that red and white shirt, that they want to do it for each other and want to do it for the club. And if they do that, then we have a chance. If we don't, and I'm pretty sure I know they care, then we give ourselves a chance.
From the fans' point of view, they forgive a lot if they see a player giving 100% effort, don't they?
Exactly, and so do I. I'm like one of them. If I see the commitment and the effort, you're not always going to be up against better players sometimes, or just better people on the day, and that wasn't the case Saturday. We were just, if you looked at the two teams, they were very much similar to the ones that both played at our place earlier in the season, but one team did everything right and one team did everything wrong, and like I said, we went up there to try and play our football, impose ourselves, making sure that we were defensively sound, but we did absolutely neither.
From a selection point of view, you didn't have either of the lows last week. Jeff Goulding went off, and you've taken the decision to let Ashley Easton go back.
I haven't taken the decision to let Ashley go back. Ashley's got 5 games to try and earn a contract at Blackpool in their reserve. So, that was the situation with that. He wanted to. He hasn't been playing of late, and I fully understand it. Not a problem. I asked him would he stay, and he just felt right at this moment in time that if I couldn't guarantee him a game, then he needed to go and prove to Ian Holloway that he was worthy of another contract at Blackpool. We thank him for everything he's done here. We know he's a great lad. We know he's a good player. He's just come to a team that's struggled a little bit of late.
How many options do you have then available to you for the weekend?
We don't have millions. We certainly don't have that, but we've worked all week, and we'll continue to work for the rest of the week on the team, on how we're going to play, and how we're going to make sure that we're far better than we were last week.
How much chance of Josh, Jeff and Keith of playing?
None. But that's where we are, and can't grumble. Get on with it. Josh will be available next week. Keith and Jeff probably not for a couple of weeks. It's just a fact of life we've got to deal with, and it gives the ones who are in the possession of the shirts a chance to keep it for 6 games, and if I do that, then we'll be all right.
Does that leave a door open for someone like James Falk to possibly be on the bench?
James will be on the bench, yeah. And we've recalled Kyle back from Hensford. So it gives some young players an opportunity. Like I say, we were 5 minutes from beating Gillingham, the week before, and only whether there were 2 bits of opportunism from their lad, or whether they were from where we could have dealt with things better into our box. We're 5 minutes from beating a team in the playoffs, and then to get a performance like we had last week was just out of left field, if you like. But it's how we respond. It's not. You've got what you've got, and we'll get on with it. And we've worked all week towards making sure we're better, and we'll continue to do so for the next couple of days. And the players will know exactly what we're after. With no hiding, no shirking of responsibilities, which we probably did last week.
I imagine you haven't spoken about Rotherham.
I don't think they'll know today and tomorrow a little bit, but it's about us being better, to be totally honest. If we talked about Crewe all last week, and did our own work on them, and set them up, set how we'd set up against them. But I say that went totally out the window after we, all the goals last week, good on their part, but we've gifted them, all of them. Scott Brown's had 1 shot to save, and he parried that back into the lads' path for a rebound, and it just summed up our day. My back four decided that it was a day where we wanted to play really narrow, but we conceded 8 goals, and pretty much every one of them was straight down our throat. So it was a baffling one, and the players have got to get back to doing what we asked of them, and we know they can, we know they will, and it's time to do so.
Just lastly then, for people who aren't involved at the club every minute of the week, what is the recovery process from that result to 3 o'clock Saturday from your point of view?
It's about analysing what we did wrong, and not only analysing, admitting what we did wrong. There's no point just saying, "Oh, it didn't quite work for us," and I don't normally do that. Why don't you do it? Why did you do what you did on Saturday? Why? And we've had that for the first couple of days of the week. We've moved on to how we're going to play and how we're going to put that right. We can't just beat them. We can't just you've got to treat them with a bit of respect as well, the players. You can't just be hammering them. But they've known in no uncertain terms what we as a staff feel. And the good thing is that, from what I sense down there, is that they feel the same. And like I said before, I can't guarantee a result, but I can guarantee that from what I've seen this week, what I've heard this week coming out of there, the players, the dressing room, is performances like that won't happen again.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark, if the players are doing exactly what you've asked of them and it's not quite coming off, that's one thing. But you said after the game they weren't, they were doing their own thing. Was that the most disappointing thing from your point of view?
Like I say, I've looked at the DVD and I thought it at the time. When both teams played a similar system, so before the game we said it's it's about man. It's almost man for man, and it's who's the best at. And obviously on the day they were, but you know, their fullbacks got forward and supported, as didn't their fullbacks. They were spread out. You know, as the worrying thing, John, was our back four was so narrow, and they went straight through the middle of us 8 times and scored. So, and that wasn't just the back four, that was everybody. It was from, you know, they scored from our corner on the 4th goal, and it was just poor. And the players, I think they when they saw the DVD, I think they thought it was even worse than they remembered on Saturday. So we owe the supporters a performance, and this week's been about making sure that we're right to do so.
It's the same, pretty much the same group of players that Crewe were saying was the best team they played against all season.
Exactly.
Early in the season,
yeah,
so
exactly.
They can do it, can't they?
Of course they can. And it is about confidence. It is about belief, and perhaps we're lacking in a little bit at that at the moment. But the only way to do that is not to sulk, not to mope around. Is to stick your chest out and go and prove people wrong, and then you get your self-respect back. Then you get your things you try come off, and the harder you work, the luckier you become. You know, it's an old adage, but it's true. And we didn't work hard enough from 3 o'clock last Saturday till 5 o'clock, and we pretty much got our pants pulled down.
I don't know if anyone's told you, but last time Cheltenham let in 8, they scored 6 the next game, which is quite funny.
I didn't know that, so
no pressure.
Beware Rotherham. Yeah.
You're having a look at 3 lads from the second year scholars. Can Ethan play, or is it because of his registration he can't?
Yeah.
But the other 3, the other
Fulke
2,
and you know, Louis not going to feature on the bench, but we'll have a look at them. It's not about that at the moment. It's about the team. It's about the ones who've been here all season. And if James can step up to the plate, then great. But it's about the others being a damn sight better than we were last week.
Yeah. Cheers, Mark.
All right.